Yo, you fine and fabulous people out there. Welcome to another episode of Beating Obesity. This is episode number 13. And today's episode kind of went for a ride, and it turned into, I guess we're going to call it the emotional and mental side of fitness. So I hope you enjoy. Well, welcome back, my brethren, to another wonderfully wild episode of Beating Obesity. Here where we try to deliver some information to these fine and fabulous people out there, trying to get healthier, trying to lose some weight, trying to change their damn life. And people are lying and misinforming them, bruh, and just trying to take their money. And we're here to hopefully deliver decent information that will, you know, hopefully help some people and not screw too many people up.
Hopefully.
So, how's your day been going so far?
Just splendiferous, bro. Splendiferous.
Splendid. What type of language is that?
Most splendiferous pudding pop you have ever seen.
What?
It's not my song. It's Family Guy.
Oh, boy.
I'll tell you that later.
That's nice. That's nice. I'm just got back from a trail run not long ago.
Yep.
Got up in the sunshine, up in the mountains, spreading them legs through the forest, striding down the mountains.
Striding.
Saw a couple squirrels.
Oh, yeah?
They ran as quick as they could from me. As soon as they saw me, and they was out of there. I have two drinks with me. I picked a ginger kale cold press juice up, which is very stout. But it has cucumber, celery, romaine lettuce, lemon, ginger, lime, kale, and spinach.
And I have my...
Getting all them nutrients.
My vape.
He has his vape. Getting the nicotine up in him.
6 milligram nicotine.
Hey, they have said now that... that's me taking a sip of my cold press green juice.
With the strong full ingredients of USP grade glycerin, USP grade proline glycol, natural and artificial flavorings, USP grade nicotine, and Prop 65.
Prop 65 is a thing they passed.
What
it's
is
not
it?
An actual ingredient.
Oh, I thought it was in... It just says ingredients, and at the very end
I thought it was
Prop
just like
65.
a California thing, but I may be completely wrong.
Well, the warning does say this product may contain chemicals known to the state of California to cause birth defects.
That's what Prop 65 is. They have to label that anything that... But California's like super strict. Like they have to put it on buildings and like...
it says...
they have to put it on like certain dumbbells and stuff.
To cause birth defects or other reproductive harm. But, you know, I'm not too worried about having kids anyway, so. It's all just a plus for me.
Just kill that sperm out now.
Don't have to worry about having babies, and I get nicotine. What's wrong with that?
Hey, nicotine has been shown to be a nootropic in a certain way.
I mean, nicotine ain't bad for you. It's just all the other stuff and cigs and stuff that's really bad for you.
Well, it's addictive.
I mean, I'm sure, like, tons and tons of nicotine probably ain't the best for you.
Yeah, tons and tons of anything isn't bad for you. The body has like a...
It's all good in moderation.
Well, the body has an interesting way of down-regulating anything it's getting too much of. Because you have like these receptors that usually, whatever your chemical is, whether it's, you know, something like nicotine or alcohol or whatever it is, it hits certain chemical receptors, and that's how you get the feeling. And if you're constantly like overloading your brain... Those specific receptors it's hitting will actually start down regulating because the brain just is because it's like we're getting tons and tons of this. Much. We don't need to be absorbing this ridiculous amount. So because we're getting so much, we're going to down regulate these receptors, so you just don't absorb as much.
Imagine just like every time remember the first time you like ever smoked a cig?
Yeah.
And you got like a big nicotine bust or whatever.
Yeah, that's the reason. It was actually cigars, and that's the reason I kept smoking.
Doing that every time.
Semi-high.
Doing that every time that you smoked a cig and said.
Yeah, well, that's...
Now it's just like...
Yeah, and you...
I mean, you feel a little better.
Yeah, you feel like a little like relief or like a little like... You can breathe just a little easier or something, but it ain't the same to where you're stumbling, you're like, whoa, man, off of just a cig. But yeah, it's
Wow.
interesting like that, the way the body can regulate those things.
Wow.
Anyways, we have a selfish topic today that hopefully isn't too horribly selfish, because although it does pertain to me, hopefully people can use it as a way to, set up their own little program style. Today I would like to talk about my personal health and fitness goals for 2018.
Nice.
We're about halfway through March, and still pretty close to the beginning of the year, and right now is really when people start to drop off, because you'll look at the statistics and like a ridiculous amount of people start.
I'd imagine they probably started like the first of the year, like the whole New Year's.
Well, like I think it's something crazy, like 40-some percent of people like of America set some type of weight loss related goal, and like 92% of them drop off before like 2 or 3 months. So, and if you go to like gyms, like commercial gyms, you'll see this to where January and February, people who like go to the gym a lot always complain. They're like, man, January and February is always filled with all these New Year goals people. Man, I can't wait till March till they all clear out. That's like, you know what I'm going to say? Because like, they'll go to the gym. They're used to always be able to use the squat racks and
just whatever.
Just, any of the equipment they want, and they come in on January 1st and there's 1,000 people in there, and then they have to wait 2 months, and then they can finally have all their stuff back. But so I think this may be actually a better time to talk about them than just the first of the month, because if you're still talking about your goals now, like there's a good chance you maybe have found a way to stick with it a little bit longer. But let's go over some of my fitness and nutrition goals for 2018. 18. But here's basically my last year was pretty terrible as far as I maintained relatively being healthy and being decently fit, but I injured my back because I tried to climb a radio tower and and fell, and that put me out for a few weeks. And then once my back healed up, I finally decided that I was going to I really wanted to take trail running up to another level. I wanted to start preparing for longer distances and eventually ramp up to an ultra marathon, which is anything over a regular marathon, which is 26.2 miles. And almost always the difference between ultra marathons and marathons is that marathons are almost always road races, and ultra marathons are almost always trail races.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, once they start going above the marathon, like there are some,
they gotta keep finding ways to make it harder.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's like we made it longer. Now make them run up in the mountains.
Still got these dudes wanting more.
Yeah.
What are we gonna call? Let's call it an ultra marathon.
An ultra, like the
An
marathon.
ultra marathon.
Ultra.
How are we gonna make this hard? Straight up hills, nothing but hills.
Yeah. Well, there's also ultra running, and there's sky running.
Sky running.
Which is like ultra running. Well, my bad. Ultra running.
He's Anakin
/
Skyrunner.
Trail running. There's a difference between trail running and sky running. Trail running can just be any trail, flat trail, down, But sky running is specifically these trails that just climb and climb and climb.
God.
And they go, like, they're just so high. They call it the sky running because you're up in the sky running through mountains, and they're purposely made to like just jack up the elevation as high as you can go.
Trying to do a trail race like up Mount Everest and then back down.
I don't even know if you could.
No, I don't think it's an actual thing.
You could do like a hike with it.
But imagine like this trail race that started
you could do any
at one base of the mountain, and then it like goes straight up. Like you have to like curl around the mountain, and then there's another side that curls back down to the other side.
You can find
that would be pretty rough.
You can find trail races.
I'm sure there's probably nothing on like Kilimanjaro or Mount Everest.
Why is any human being doing this?
Well, that is the question, isn't it?
No, I think I know why people do it.
People are just crazy.
It is a craziness, but it's a seeking of.
Like I feel like personal fitness and stuff is pretty important, health and stuff. But it's like,
well, I
don't personally feel the need, even if I was healthy, to go run like a 70-mile race.
Well, personal health and fitness, I think, is a non-negotiable. Because eventually it catches up with you regardless. Like, you can ignore it for 20 years, but then it's going to slap you in the face and you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to, you got to go on this med or that med, or you have like a mini heart attack or something. Like, it's eventually going to be like, hey, buddy, you're going to have to take care of this.
Just don't.
But sports is different.
I got a quick story to tell, but it has nothing to do with fitness. But
okay, go ahead.
It's you said heart attack, and it just reminded me this something this dude told me that yesterday. Well, he wasn't technically talking to me, but he was up at the counter while I was at work, and he was talking to this other lady. And apparently, this dude, when he was younger, was doing all kinds of cocaine. Right?
Okay.
And he had 2 heart attacks.
Dang.
Within like 1 day from cocaine overdose.
Yeah, just
luckily
luckily
he survived. And he ain't on cocaine no more. But
those kind of things make you second guess.
He said, "Yeah, I had the first one, and I was thinking to myself, no, that wasn't a real one."
Yeah.
And then the second one hit me, and he goes, "Okay, I need to get to the hospital." Like he had like a tiny one.
Is that when he decided the?
I guess he died for like a couple minutes.
But then he
got resuscitated.
Well, but then he decided
that cocaine.
To cut back the cocaine.
To cut back on the cocaine.
The cut back. But usually it is a lot of times those slap you in the face moments that make you like make you
kind of wake you up.
Okay.
Get woke.
Because there's all these little things that happen and they're like, I don't like
them.
But if you continue to ignore them, there's almost always a message that's like, yo, buddy, this is your last chance. You change this now or you're not getting another chance.
It's like vaping. I mean, if I had a heart attack from vaping, I'm pretty sure I'd quit vaping.
Well, you have like a realization of like,
oh, okay.
of like, I don't know, I think you reach a point because changing your lifestyle is really hard.
Yeah.
And it is really hard, and people may say you need to be disciplined and you need to, do all this and do all that, and it sounds easy, but when it really comes down to it, like we're creatures of habit, and you ingrain these habits that you do every day for years and years and years, and to change your whole life, like health and fitness, it's really a lifestyle change once it comes down to it. Like there's individual things you change, but once it comes down to it, you have to change how you live your life, and that's really hard for people and challenging. But I think what tends to happen is people's pain of the life they're living finally hits a point to where it's greater than the fear of trying to change. To where they're like, okay, I don't care what I have to do. If I have to drink kale every day for the rest of my life for every meal, that's better than waking up and doing this again every day. I think that's... And I think, too, those people are the ones that tend to be able to go to extremes where... Because I think I kind of did that, where I had kind of gone back and forth,
mm-hmm.
but then once I kind of hit a point, I made a change, and, there's been a lot of differences in that change, but I never really looked back once I made that change and decided I was going to do it. And I think that's how... A lot of people who make those, like you'll see those crazy transformations. And even me, I lost 160 pounds in a year. That's not that long.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
But it's because you had hit such a point that on one side you went to such an extreme that you then need to go to another extreme to kind of bounce back for it. And I think certain people can do that when you're in that situation. And then other people, because you don't need to hit that point to where you're 330 pounds, smoking and
I think for you,
drinking and all that.
It's like you was at the tipping point for sure.
Yeah, I was 330 pounds.
You had a choice either to not do anything and then slip like past the point of no return. Which, I mean, you can still return from like being super overweight, but it's gonna be much, much harder. I mean, you were really overweight, but then you were like, okay, forget a bunch of this nonsense, and then chose to go back. But it's like, I could see how easy it could have been for you not to do it.
Yeah,
and to slip into this Like six,
'Cause it's-
like a year later, like 600 pounds or whatever.
Well,
like,
it's it's a slow and slippery path. It's not like I wake up the next day and I'm 10 pounds heavier and 20 pounds heavier the next day. It's like you gain a pound or two here. You gain a pound.
Yeah.
But then it's like
well, it's like over 2 or 3 years.
But then you
put
look
on
2 or
like
3
60
later,
pounds,
you're like, yeah, I
just
put
like,
on
damn.
45 pounds. But it happens so slow.
What am I doing?
and it just, I could kind of see that to where, you can look 10 years ahead and, you have 2 different paths. And the way I don't know if I thought about it then, but I kind of thinking about it this way now is that, like, I wasn't that old.
Nah, I think when you was at your biggest, I think you was probably like 17, 18.
No,
maybe?
I was 19 when I...
Was that when you was at your biggest?
19 is when I officially was, like, switched from...
Well, I was talking about when you was at your actual heaviest.
Yeah. I may have been 18, 19. But,
Well, yeah.
But no, this is after I moved out and...
Oh, yeah.
Remember, yeah.
I forgot you even... I totally forgot
Yeah, and
you
it
moved
was...
out for a little while.
But I look back on it now, and it's kind of... You can look at it, well, you were so young, so you could go ahead and switch. But it was also like, yeah, I was so young, and I had already went so far.
Yeah.
Like, most, like, people, like, don't really...
They start getting overweight when they start getting a little older.
Yeah,
the
they slow
start
down, like
slowing
25,
down.
they put on a few pounds, 30, and then they find themselves at 45.
Yeah, it's like when you get 30
But I
and
was
plus,
like...
you start slowing
I
down.
hadn't
You're like,
hit 20 years old yet, and I was already pushing 330 pounds, so I could look and be like...
It's all them genes, bro. It's all them...
Well, yeah...
It's all them obesity genes.
Well, it was... that played a role in it, but I could also look like... What I'm doing now is not only not working...
Yeah.
It's miserably failing, and failing very quickly. So if I continue to let these... whatever's driving me to this point continue to take over... From the, like, I'm just 19 and I've already destroyed my body to this extent. What is 30 going to look like? You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't have been.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
It wouldn't have been 30 extra pounds.
Yeah,
it would have been 150 extra pounds.
Yeah, I can't imagine if you, like.
I would have been pushing 500 pounds.
If you wouldn't have started working out and stuff from that point to where, like, to today, how big you'd be, like, where your life would be at.
Yeah,
it's like hard to imagine.
Oh, it completely. I'm going on 24 now, and I would probably be very close to 500 pounds, if not more than 500 pounds. And could you imagine just the daily life? Like
you was already having it rough.
Yeah, but it was rough, and
well, we have people in our family that's like 500 pounds, and you see that just. Walking through their mailbox is a struggle.
And I look and like I could look at that and be like, I'm gonna be worse than that. That's like what I can be hopeful for. Like I could hopefully at 50 I can move around that good.
I mean, I'm a little bit overweight, but I feel like as long as I can still do some basic.
But you start,
and
it did help me because I was younger. I was still at a point to where even though I was so heavy, that
you still had energy and stuff just because.
Well, it hadn't completely destroyed my health, and my body hadn't suffered to a point where it was extremely hard to move.
It's all them young organs taking on all the pressure.
Yeah, exactly. But so that did help me, but also, like I had asthma. I took 2 or 3 allergy pills.
Yeah, you was allergic to like dust.
Pills a day. I used to take allergy shots. I used to have a steroid inhaler.
You had an inhaler.
And I don't even think about this now, but it's like, man, I used to be on my medications my entire life.
Yeah, you don't take anything now.
And, no.
Besides just like vitamins and stuff.
Yeah, a few supplements. Not even very many of those anymore. And it's like, it just, I set myself on such a different path. And to me, the way it worked is I had like a giant fork in the road.
Yeah.
That was either you're going to take this path and you're going to get like, I don't know, it was weird. To me, it was like I either needed to be into the health and fitness thing. I needed to fully embrace it and fully learn about it and understand it. And then the other side was, and I think this is with people who have addictive tendencies in general, to where it's usually an all or nothing type thing. And And also, a thing that started to happen that really it changed my outlook on life in general was no one, like I started realizing there's all of these tools that if you just put them in place, they work, and like your life starts, things around you start changing. And without you even noticing, like the way you think about things start changing. And no one had ever like told me this before. Like it was always kind of like, well, being overweight, yeah, you should probably eat less carbs, and yeah, that's not good for you. But no one ever told you you'll never have to take any medications again. No one ever told me that. No one ever said, "Hey, buddy, we can strengthen your gut and your immune system. We can get you off all the shots and asthma medications and inhalers and allergy medications you're taking." No one ever told me that. No one ever said, "Hey, buddy." Like I remember a time when like I wanted to be 250 pounds. Like I was like, that's probably
that was a goal.
I was like, I can get to that weight and I can manage that weight. And then I got there.
So that's a little bit heavier than I am right now.
Yeah,
so
I'm
about 230.
And then my second goal was 225 pounds, and like that was like a dream goal. And now I usually stay around 170.
Yeah,
it's like no one ever told me like if you just get this right, like the weight will just fall off. Like you'll lose 160 pounds like without that much work. I'm like, no one ever told me like the mental and emotional changes that physical fitness and eating healthy brings. Like you got to go out and seek this information. And once I started learning this, it was like, I can do this and all of this will change. It never realized to me the amount of change that you could make with just like a few things that you can learn. And I don't even know, like I went on a rant now, and this wasn't even the original point on the podcast.
That's okay. We can go back to the...
But we can,
we'll swing back to the...
That's what this medium's all about. We can go all about it, and like no one ever told me that these tools... it was all in the beginning about losing weight.
Yeah.
And during that process, I never realized that it was a complete mind shift, and the tools ran so much deeper than physiological tools, and that you can, teach yourself how to go out and accomplish things that you didn't think were possible. And you kind of learn this system like, oh, I just need to learn this, and you get the accomplishment, and you start putting it into place, and then just the world around you starts changing. And no one tells you this. Like, no one tells you, like, hey, buddy, if you do this, all these magical things will happen. And I don't know that if someone even did tell me that, like, I would have, it has to be open to receptive ears. But it was like I started to figure this out, and it was just life changing.
Just like the famous analogy, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah, and that's a very sad thing.
People believe what they want to believe.
Well, it's a sad reality because when I first, like a year and a half in, or a little over a year in, like I had lost all this weight. And I was like, I just do not understand why everyone is not doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I get off, like, the junk food, quit eating all this processed bullshit, and eat your fruits and vegetables, and you'll feel 1,000 times better. Yeah. You'll be able to do things with your body you didn't even know was possible. And I'll be just looking at people at Walmart like, what is your problem? Why won't you do this? Like, it's so obvious. Like, just...
I think some people just don't realize it's like...
Well, there's some people who...
You have another choice.
Yeah, and
some people just think, "Oh, it's just the way I am. I just eat like everybody else does."
And well, I think that to an extent is a cover up these days.
And some of it's just denial too.
Well, there's too much information out there not to know that if you don't eat better, you'll feel better and you'll increase your risk of not getting heart disease and die. Like everyone knows that, but I don't think people realize the extent that it has an effect on it. And I didn't realize an extent. To me, it was like, I knew if I ate better, I would lose weight.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. But I didn't realize all these other little changes that would just completely change my life. And I don't think people realize the extent of that. And people just, it's like I said before, like it's really hard to change. And people don't like to change. I mean, that's a hard thing to do. And people, they just... going through changes, and it is a sad thing. Like once you have these health and fitness realizations for yourself, and like I'm no one special. Like
just some cat from.
Well, my point is I screwed up so badly. I was so wrong that before I was even 20, I was pushing my body to like a breaking point. I was so wrong, doing everything so horribly. If I can change,
dude, I'm surprised you didn't get
and lose 160 pounds.
Didn't get some kind of diabetes while you was.
Oh, it was coming.
Oh yeah, if you wouldn't, if you wouldn't have
sure.
changed, it would have came. I'm just surprised, like
one of our cousins just.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, and he's what, like, he's probably a little bit younger than you, aren't you? Tracy.
No.
I
won't
say too many
I was
names.
thinking of someone else. He's probably what, 350.
Yeah, he's kind of heavy. He's pretty heavy.
No, he's I
haven't seen him in a while.
Big heavy guy. Yeah, he's probably and that was coming, and now my levels. The last time I had my glucose check, like it was perfect.
Who was you talking about?
Just nobody.
No. Okay.
But I mean, I'll tell you.
Okay.
But
we don't want to say too many names on here.
And I lost my. I had a place I was going. Oh, and a thing that sucks, that is like it's a thing you have to learn to deal with. Like once you have the nutrition and fitness realization for yourself, and you realize the power and the healing that can happen, and you have to watch the people you love around you not take any of your advice.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly die in front of you. You're like, man, if you could just listen, if you would just listen. I mean, I may not be able to completely cure you, but I mean, I could make so many changes.
Yeah, we can make a definite improvement
that are going to drastically improve your life. And when I first got healthy after that year, like I was like looking at everybody like, why won't you do this? I was preaching to everybody, to our family, like all this. And
I always think it's funny whenever we go to like a family get together or whatever. Yeah. Everybody's like, "Yeah, Tim, what do you think about this?" You're like, "Well," and like they believe themselves like that's healthy or whatever. And you're like, "Well, that ain't kind of," and they're just kind of looking at you like, "What?"
Yeah, and well, they're
you know what I'm saying?
Well,
you know what I'm talking about.
That is one reason I started this podcast, is because I think there is so much misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's organic, natural,
whole foods,
includes whole grains,
grass to table.
Yeah, like there's all these terms and marketing terms,
Do you even know what grass to table or farm to table even means?
And there's a lot of things that out there that make people feel better about their bad habits. Mm-hmm. There's cookies and cakes that are organic and lower calorie that make you feel better about eating junk food. But
it's still junk food. I mean, it might not be quite as bad as
maybe slightly better. It's slightly better junk food is what a lot of it is.
An organic Oreo may not be quite as bad as a regular Oreo, but it's still still an Oreo.
Maybe you'll be skipping out on a few chemicals.
Yeah,
You're still getting all that sugar, blood sugar jump and insulin dump and all that.
Oreos are delicious, but
But when I first start, you'll notice now, like, I try not to give people advice unless they ask me. Like, if they ask me, I'll tell you anything I know. Like, I'll give you all the information that I have in my brain. But I try not to give advice unless people ask me.
Well, people ain't going to take it if you just try to force it on them. Like,
well, not only force it.
They got to kind of like personally seek it out.
People don't want to hear it, for one. And they tend to do the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're not in the right place to receive it, to where you see them like they have they're pre-diabetic, and you can see that they're getting heavier and heavier, and I think it is your responsibility to maybe say make a comment or something, like just one little thing, just a little hint or something. But if they don't want the advice.
Yeah, honestly, some people will just take offense to it.
And you give it to them anyways. Most of the time, they take it as a personal attack because you're hitting soft spots they have. And then all they end up doing is they then, because they're more than likely a person who uses food to comfort themselves, you then just eat more food to feel better about you judging them.
Yeah.
Which you're not. But
it's like, no, we're
so
not.
right now, like now,
nobody's judging you because you're a little bit
I
overweight.
think the
We're just
best
trying
way to go
help you out a
is
little
just to live by example, and people can see what you're eating, and people can see that you've lost all this weight, and people can see like the things you go do now, and like the things I do now are just like I still do a lot of the old things, like I still video games and things like that, but people will never imagine me being a hiker and a camper and going kayaking and competing in trail races. So it's like, if you want to know, you can see that and be like, okay, this did all this for him, and asking. But a lot of people just, they purposely ignore it, or maybe even unconsciously ignore it. And then like when you try to give them this advice, and it just makes it worse. So I've had to, like, if you notice now, I don't really give people advice unless they ask. But when I first started, like, I was just, I was constantly talking about this and that, and you would just see people who wouldn't take the advice. They'd be like, and it's like, and you would just see like their health, go further and further, and they're getting more and more overweight, and it's a sad thing when you have all these answers in your head, and you can fix people, and yet they still make the decisions that are constantly, push them in a further direction. And like, just like an example of this would be like one of our grandfathers has not severe but pretty debilitating. I wouldn't.
It's not quite Alzheimer's.
Not quite Alzheimer's,
but it's getting there.
Mental decline. Let's say that he has a very serious mental decline where
no good memory. It's like
it's mostly his memory to where names, places, things. He just can't.
It's not like he can't function.
He can function, but he can't think of the names or the places or things like that.
Smaller details he can't.
And he has diabetes, and a lot of people these days are calling Alzheimer's a diabetes of the brain, because the brain can't uptake glucose. So, but I can see like there's so many people, even in advanced ages, that make these lifestyle changes, and it dramatically helps them. And I don't say too much, but I offer a few things here and there. And one of our aunts, when he got diagnosed with cancer for a while, she started super looking into nutrition. And it's like, and trying to put him on like a really healthy diet and stuff, but still he has to wake up, and he's just done it for 30 years now. He has to have his donut, and he has to have.
He's like 70, 80 something?
He's up in his 80s now.
Yeah, I figured he's at least 80.
But it's like, it's just like, I know like the things that could fix him. And he's getting older now, and it wouldn't fix him, but it's like, we can
definitely wouldn't hurt.
We can end this thing so much more gracefully, and we can end it so much less painful.
Yeah, instead of getting taken out by like some kind of disease or.
But they don't take the advice, and you have to find a way to live with it, that you have the answers, and yet you still have to watch them slowly suffer from what you could fix. And that's just each and everyone's path. And I'm not even sure what this episode was about, but I feel like
I think it was meant to be your goals for.
Yeah, we was going to go over my personal health and fitness goals for 2018, but it mainly turned into. Oh, what did it turn into?
Just a big cluster.
I mean, it was about health and.
It had some good points, but
the mental and emotional sides of health and fitness.
Yeah, we're just going to change the podcast.
That's what we'll call this one: the mental and emotional sides of health and fitness. And do you have anything to add to all of that?
It's all just emotionally devastating.
We're so broke down. I hope I didn't break y'all's hearts too much, and I hope you'll return for another episode. This has been the Beating Obesity Podcast. If you like this episode, do go subscribe. You should have already subscribed.
If you haven't subscribed, I'm gonna take a green smoothie and just shove it right up your bum.
That's what he's gonna do. Right up the old anus.
Right up the arse.
And here's what you need to do next. If you like this episode, tell some peeps. Let them listen to it and all that good stuff, which you probably won't do because nobody likes sharing stuff. But here's what you can do. Give me 30 seconds. Go to your podcasting app. Search Beating Obesity. You have to search it even if you're already subscribed. And search it and open the page and leave us a review. I would greatly appreciate it. Would mean a lot. And then if you want to connect with me, you can go to Instagram. I'm Tim Maynard Fitness on there. Or you can go to my website, which is timmaynardfitness.com, which also has a free ebook if you're interested. Just scroll down on the very first homepage and you'll see a book called What to Actually Eat. And I believe that is it. So, until next time, you fine and fabulous people. Bye.